everyone, welcome back. So our 2023-2024 season previews continue on today with the New York Rangers. Again, apologies for the lighting, apologies for the audio. This will be the last video where I am here. So regardless, the Rangers, they're an interesting team. Obviously, last season they went 47, 22, and 13 for 107 points. They were ninth in the NHL, so top 10 overall, and they lost in the first round to the New Jersey Devils in 7 games. And the biggest issue come that playoff time was just their guys didn't show up. It just really felt like, their guys just didn't show up when it mattered in that Game 7 in the playoffs. It looked like the entire team just played bad, except for Shesterkin, and it proved to be ineffective, and they lost to the Devils in round 1. And honestly, many people hopped on the wagon after they got Tarasenko and Kane and said that, yeah, this team is going to go far. And even I said that too. I was one of those people that actually had the Rangers in the finals. But obviously didn't happen. So it's unfortunate, but you got to move on from there. And they fired their coach. They fired Gerard Gallant. He is no longer with the team. And they have hired Peter Laviolette to be the brand new coach from Washington. Laviolette, obviously, as I mentioned in videos where he's been hired, he has coached so many Metro Division teams. Not sure why I said Pacific. But he's coached so many of those teams that, it's to the point where, it's insane. He's coached every single team except for, I think, 2. It's literally that crazy. But regardless, they did have a very eventful offseason. Let's start off here with their departures. You got Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, Yaroslav Halak, Nico Mikkola, Tyler Mott, Ryan Carpenter, and Libor Hajek. So overall, not that big of losses, if I'm being honest. And yes, I know people are already going to jump the gun and say, oh, you don't think Kane's a big loss? You don't think Tarasenko's a big loss? I mean, yeah, I guess, but they were with the team for no more than 20 games. They were deadline acquisitions, so you're not really missing much there. You're basically just back to how you were at the start of the season, more or less. Halak, solid backup, but I think they replaced him. Nico Mikkola was more or less just a depth defenseman, was actually a deadline move as well. Tyler Mott was the same thing. Ryan Carpenter, just a depth center. And then Libor Hajek was also a depth defenseman. So really, they're not losing much, if we're being honest. Would I take Kane and Tarasenko over the guys they got? Absolutely. Your arrivals listed as follows. You got Blake Wheeler, Tyler Pitlick, Alex Belzile, Nick Bonino, Riley Nash, Eric Gustafson, and Jonathan Quick are all of your arrivals. So here's my issue with the Rangers in this. Originally, I thought that they were getting older. I thought that they were a much older team than, they were previously. But honestly, really, they didn't do too much in regards of improving the top 6, improving the defense, because they don't really need to improve the top 6 or the defense, if we're being brutally honest here. So they just got guys to really just help out with the bottom 6 and fill in depth spots and just improve their depth overall. I think that's really the moves that they made getting these guys. Wheeler, solid, probably going to be a second-line player. Pitlick, good fourth-liner. Same with Belzile, depth player. Bonino, a good fourth-line center if he can stay healthy. Riley Nash, not a bad depth player either. Gustafson, even though I hate his guts, he's still a solid depth defenseman. And then Jonathan Quick will probably be a backup goalie. So, honestly, it's not that huge of moves. They didn't really need to make that huge of moves. I'm imagining they're waiting till the trade deadline to make a big move, because there could be some notable players out there come deadline time for sure. So that's obviously something you got to keep in mind there. Your projected lineup goes as follows here, and this is via the Hockey News' depth charts, so don't come at me here for these lines. Your top 6, you have Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, and Kaapo Kakko. Then you got Chris Kreider, Vincent Trocheck, and Blake Wheeler. So that is your top 6 there. It's an interesting top 6 nonetheless. You got Panarin, Zibanejad, Kakko as your first line. So you're going to have Kakko there filling in on that first line spot, which could be very interesting. I'm not going to deny that. We're going to find out if that actually happens. Now, obviously, there could be changes to the lineup. This isn't my own projected lineup. What I think is going to happen. It's definitely not what is going to happen. But as of right now, Kakko's your number 1 right wing. So that is something very interesting to keep in mind there for sure. Kreider and Trocheck Good solid second liner. Trocheck should have another good year. And then Blake Wheeler there on that second line slot. Still a really solid 50, 60, 70 point scorer at that stage in his career. And definitely, you have him for a league minimum contract for 1 year. So it really isn't that big of a deal if he doesn't perform too well. So really, I'm not too worried about it there if I'm New York. Your bottom six goes as follows. You have Alexis Lafreniere, Philip Chytil, and Barclay Goodrow. Then you got Jimmy Vesey, Nick Bonino, and Tyler Pitlick. Then you got Will Cooley, Riley Nash, and Alex Belzile as your extra players. So, honestly, and here's my problem with that third line, I'm very hesitant if they really want to remove Kakko from that kid line they had. With Kakko, Lafreniere, and Chytil. Do they really want to break apart that line? Maybe. Maybe they move Goodrow and Wheeler up into that top six, and they move it that way. But honestly, that's really what your lineup looks like right now. A Lafreniere, Chytil, and Goodrow type lineup. And then obviously guys like Othman and Cooley, they aren't available yet to come up into the roster. I know I have Cooley listed, but it's not guaranteed he'll make a roster spot. And obviously VC can get moved around here too. I don't know. I don't really like these lines that the Hockey News made. But regardless, we'll see how they do. I don't mind the bottom six. It's not horrible whatsoever. Just some guys like Bonino and Pitlick, they need to stay healthy, which I have faith in them. I think they will. Your defense goes as follows. You have Ryan Lindgren and Adam Fox as your first pairing. Then you have K'Andre Miller and Jacob Trouba as your second pairing. Then you got Zach Jones and Braden Schneider as your third pairing. Then for some extra defenders, you got Eric Gustafson and Connor Mackey. So yeah, your defense is pretty much the same. It hasn't really changed too much. I like it. Good top four. Third pairing is going to be interesting. Two younger players in Schneider and Jones. We'll see how they do. They've obviously both have NHL experience, but if everything goes right, that could be your third pairing, which I'm intrigued to see how it will do for sure. And then your goaltending is obviously in good hands. You got Shesterkin and Quick as your two goalies, and then you got Louis Domingue as your third-string goaltender. So, yeah, not that bad, honestly. I don't think it's that bad of a roster. It still is pretty good. I like the goaltending. I like the offense. I like the defense. I like this team overall still. Your biggest X factor for me is the start of the season. How are they going to do the start off the year? Can they get that first place spot in the Metropolitan Division? We'll obviously find out. A bigger X factor there too could be like playoffs. You could argue, how are these guys going to do come that very important time in the playoffs, or just Panarin basically. But regardless, your biggest question is, and it's been a question that's been asked for a while, are they a cup team? Are the Rangers like a legitimate cup contending team after, the past couple of years of just losing in the conference finals and then losing in the first round? It's a wonder. It really makes me wonder, is this team really going to be able to contend for a Stanley Cup with the roster they have? Honestly, and people have brought this up a lot, they have said that the Rangers have bought their way to being a contending team. Really, the guys they drafted, Lafreniere and Kakko, and other guys in that roster too, they've played minor roles. Vanacek they traded for, Panarin they traded for, Trocheck they signed. So, honestly, people wonder if they're really a cup team, and it may not be for that reason, but are they going to be able to compete with the Devils, the Hurricanes, the Penguins, the Maple Leafs, other teams in that conference? And then not only that, but look at the Western Conference too. It's going to be interesting to see if the Rangers are going to be able to compete with those teams. I think they will. I just don't know if I see them making it to a cup final and winning a Stanley Cup. I just don't know if I can see it with that core. But I've been wrong before. Your point projections go as follows per the Hockey News' fantasy guide here. They have a tie for first with Zibanejad and Panarin with 90 points. And then you got Fox in third with 73. Trocheck in fourth with 64. And then Kreider in fifth with 1 point less at 63. So not bad there. Panarin and Zibanejad seems pretty accurate. Your sleeper or your bust is K'Andre Miller. Miller has his raw athleticism into being an all-around defenseman. He led the Rangers in even strength minutes last year. He can score too, ranking 14th in shooting percentage among defensemen over the past 3 seasons. So yeah, we'll see how K'Andre Miller does. I've liked him a lot on that blue line. He's been improving a lot in the past couple of years. He is in the market for a pretty good year for sure. So I'm hoping we get that out of him 100%. So that is your 23-24 season preview for the New York Rangers. A very interesting team. We'll see how they do come playoff time. But regardless, they should be without a doubt a playoff team. But anyways, let me know your thoughts about the Rangers down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. That's subscribe and down below. I really appreciate it. And anyways, we have Colorado tomorrow, I believe. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.